How we doing tonight, guys? And I think tonight will be a really fun show because I don't know. We haven't had any technical issues yet. We came up with a spread pretty quickly, but not too quickly that you're like, oh, we're overconfident. Because you look at our standings and you're like, there's no reason you should be confident. But I feel like everything's been working out quite well. It's been a bit of a different change for us, but we did decide to take the Dallas Cowboys against the Panthers. So we're eating the 10.5. We can speak on that game really quickly. I'll introduce the guys. We'll do the whole spread picks. We'll give you some of our favorite game environments, some of the things we're liking, and then of course we'll finish up with a lineup build where we can kind of go through an idea of almost a theory. People say because now we got haters, guys. I don't know if you noticed, but we got haters now. We got people tweeting back at me, calling our plays out. They were making fun of my Tony Pollard play, and I'm like, look, you can go back and listen. The process made sense, and that might be a little foreshadowing for what's about to come in the lineup builder show because I do think Tony Pollard's at a good price this week. But let's get the guys into this. Evan, Donnie, Gov, how we doing?
Pretty good.
All right.
Feeling solid tonight.
So as I mentioned, though, do you guys have any thoughts on why we picked the Dallas Cowboys over the Panthers? I mean, this one seems pretty obvious to me, but if you guys got anything,
My Panthers suck.
Even with Mike McCarthy coaching the Cowboys, that's not going to be enough to hold the team back to play down to the Panthers. I don't think we're going to see a Cardinals game where the Cardinals just rose up and beat the Cowboys.
Well, I want to say something about the Cardinals right now too. On DraftKings for the Cardinals spread, it shows it's locked. I don't know what that means. I don't know.
it's moving. We don't know. Usually, what it means is somebody of high esteem or a high bankroll came in and either bet for the Cardinals or bet against them, and it literally moved the line. So usually a professional outfit, and they dropped a lot of money one way or the other, and the sports book's adjusting. Or maybe there's injury news too. You never know, but it is important to notice. Sorry, Don, you were saying what?
It's up to 6 now. I don't know if it moved.
I believe it was 6 right before we went to the show. It had been moving though as of this afternoon because it was a game I was kind of keeping my eye on.
All right. Let's just get into the next game. I don't know if there's anything really to say about the Cowboys outside of they're just significantly better.
Yeah, I think I'd rather be the Panthers though in this scenario than like the Bills. So like if you're gonna be bad, at least they got a young quarterback. At least they got some young pieces like Mingo and stuff like that. The Bills have just been a disappointment. I think if you're a fan of the Panthers, at least like you have some hope. Like the Bills were already supposed to be good.
But yeah, I get what you mean.
So that'd be what I would say. Like try to enjoy the game. Maybe find a prop you like here and there.
Let's not forget though, the most quarterbacks, but most notably Drew Brees had a lot of seasons with that Saints team where he could not make the playoffs. He was consistently 7-9. So I don't know if that's the trajectory of the Bills, but that's a bad spot to be in.
I'm just saying I'm not ready to give up on Bryce Young. I still think there'll be some exciting moments for Gov to enjoy, even though he did sound kind of damper tonight. Whose pick is it next? Because I wasn't paying attention.
It was 6-9 on the dot.
That's right.
Yeah. Tonight's my night, baby. So to kick things off, I would like to select the Houston Texans at -6 over the Arizona Cardinals, as I humorously brought them up when the Cowboys lost to this Cardinals team. I don't see the Texans doing the same to the Cardinals. The Texans clearly have the better offense over this awful Cardinals defense, and I don't believe in the Cardinals offense either. I think even with the addition of Kyler Murray back in the lineup from, well, I guess injury-free as he'll ever be, the weapons he has around him are not enough. I like Trey McBride, I like James Conner, but the Texans defense, they're not great, but I don't think they're going to be putting enough points. I don't think this Cardinals team is going to put enough points on the board to beat this Houston Texans team.
Fair point, but I disagree. I think Kyler makes a difference. I think Trey McBride has shown. Usually, you see second-year tight ends take a big leap. I think he is here to stay. I think it's not just a flash in the pan. He's exciting as a player. I think like he could be a future asset for the tight end room in like the greater ecosystem of tight ends in the league. I think he is in the upper echelon, or at least teetering on, has that ability to be recognized as only having one name.
I agree with Evan. Even now, Kyler doesn't make a huge difference. We saw it last week. They won because of a huge play Kyler made on a third down. But that Cardinals team was bad last year. It's bad again this year. They need talent around Kyler. And I know there's been a lot of talk about them possibly replacing him. I don't see why you would. Outside of, he had a lot of bad media attention last year with the whole Call of Duty thing. I don't think it's a big deal. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, probably still. We forget how highly we considered him before he got hurt.
Yeah, and when he was a rookie, he was the most exciting quarterback prospect to come out of college at the number 1 overall pick in 2019. And right now, he's still, if they were to move on from Kyler Murray at the end of the season, depending on how they were able to get out of the contract, they'd be on the hook for $81.5 million in dead cap. That would just be death for the Cardinals.
Right. It makes no sense. So he'll be the quarterback next year. They want to win. They just got to prove to free agents that they can win so people can come there. It's not a tank situation where you want to draft somebody. You need to prove that you can win.
They're a team that's definitely going to want Marvin Harrison Jr., but yeah, they're not drafting Caleb Williams.
And that's the thing is, they don't even need to win this game. I think Will Anderson's banged up. The Texans have proven to not be able to stop anyone. In fact, we just talked about it, but Bryce Young looked the best he's looked this season against the Texans defense. They got D'Amico Ryan. They got Hart, but I don't like a lot of what they did. Their best linebacker just got to say what, Donnie?
They're overachieving for sure.
Yeah, they're a fun offense, but remember, their linebacker just got suspended for PED use. So they're rushing in a linebacker. Like I say, Will Anderson, a very up-and-comer, is also banged up, could be limited in this game. You got the high explosion of Kyler Murray, and I'm not even saying that the Cardinals have to cover this game or have to win this game. They just have to cover 6. I think that's too many points. Gov, you have anything on this game?
No, not really. This game has just been annoying me all week. DFS.
It's been overrated, this game.
How so?
It's like the highest owned game. Like when we get to building the lineup, you want to find chalk, play anyone here.
He's not wrong.
Not surprised.
And it's annoying. I don't want to play anyone. But that's bad process. Like this is a game that probably should be targeted, but I don't want to play anyone. It's annoying.
See, we'll get to that, but like there are some options because of some injury relief. I think in this game that might go. Oh, but you are right. The ownership has just like weirdly spiked in this game. I don't get it either. We do know the Cardinals are trying to win though. That's why I like the +6 on the Cardinals.
Right, I feel like they will try to win. Next pick is mine. I am going to just. Don't have exactly a solid in there pick yet. There's so many huge spreads now, it makes it so hard to pick. I think I'm just going to go with the Lions at -8. I know Fields is back and whatnot, and the Bears have looked good with Fields and DJ Moore out there. Not good, but, they've looked like they can put up points. But this Lions team is so good offensively.
Oh, I did it again. Hold on.
So, what was that?
I was just bringing it up on screen, and I actually jumped ahead. I guess I'm trying to tell you that the Lions are so good too, Donnie, that we can go a week ahead. But I'm on the right game now.
I mean, they're the 2 seed right now.
Yeah.
No one's talking about them. They're really good. I don't think they're much of a contender this year, but they could shock the people. Being the 2 seed when what did they have for last year's pick? 12th?
Yeah.
So I mean, listen, they're doing good. Dan Campbell, I trust. I don't think they're gonna walk over this game and think it's nothing. This is a big deal for the standings. With it being a division game, I expect them to just be on fire right out the gate.
Yep, I don't disagree with anything Donnie said, and I'm sure even Logan will confirm this as the resident Lions fan, but my Bears team just does not have the same talent or even coaching talent that the Lions have. Dan Campbell, I would absolutely expect to outcoach Matt Eberflus, which isn't exactly a high bar to reach. Let's be honest.
Campbell's greatest strength is he likes to play up this like cartoony caveman mentality, but he does it, I promise you, as a facade for how aggressively progressive he is. Like, he really does look at the percentage of fourth down conversions, and like, you guys would obviously probably even attest to this now. We go for it the most of any team in the league. And that wasn't just Dan Campbell saying, throwing rocks, caveman. That was him looking at the numbers, talking with an offensive coordinator that no one else believed in at the time, was a tight ends coach, and now is one of the more highly sought after, offensive minds in the game. I will say this could be a trap game because Fields has come back, and you guys haven't given up on the season getting sweat, and Jared Goff does struggle against a zone defense that the Bears do play, but I do think this is a statement game, and I would be disappointed and quite frankly embarrassed if they were to take this game lightly and lose. We are more talented, that's for sure, but there are some unique challenges that this game possesses, like the fact that the Bears usually lock down the number one target. So is this a game where we're going to have to do it without St. Brown? Is this a game where St. Brown is the first receiver to break that trend? There's some interesting storylines here, but I do think we'll see a Lions team that kind of puts it together finally.
Wait, hold on. Time out. I just realized. I just picked our first Thanksgiving game, baby.
Say what?
The Bears and Lions play on Sunday.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. No, they're not the Thanksgiving game.
They play the Packers on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Why?
Because fuck the Packers, that's why.
They thought it was a
I'd
good
rather watch
game.
the Bears. I'd rather watch a fun team.
Well,
I appreciate that, Donnie, but we're not really all that fun yet.
Justin Fields is fun.
He is fun. Yeah, I'll give you that.
That's fun.
and
You'll
maybe
lose
that's
to
why you
Jordan
wouldn't.
Love.
But Evan, then maybe that's why you don't bring him back this season, because he is fun. He has that rushing ups. Like, I don't know if this is the defense to bring him back. And we're so hungry trying to prove a point. Like, I would almost think about shutting Fields down personally. I mean, as a DFS guy, we're going to build lineups. We mentioned it. Like, he's a fun player. He's exciting.
Last year, he was the best DFS quarterback to have at the end of the season.
I agree. But I'm not invested in that team. I don't have to run that team day to day. I think you protect your franchise guy. I don't see why you would bring the Field back.
Well, I also don't see the point of keeping him out when he still needs to get some playing time and to develop. His thumb injury was not major at all. He couldn't grip it for a few weeks, but he's been fine ever since. There's no reason to shut him down.
Joe Burrow.
I don't know, man. I've always been kind of conservative when it comes to that stuff. When you're not in contention and you're really bad, especially your offensive line is bad, I've been a fan of kind of maintenance your players.
Our offensive line is pretty disappointing, but it's not horrible like it was a few years ago when everybody is healthy. The problem with the Bears is that they keep putting guys like Cody Whitehair at left guard where he does not belong. He will lose every battle up front, and that's going to be somebody like an Aiden Hutchinson to take advantage of.
So you think he should start, but not a guard? Is that what you're saying?
I would I mean, the problem is that he has to start because of his expensive contract, but Cody Whitehair should be riding the pine, as far as I'm concerned. He fucking sucks. He's not even a good center.
Speaking of sucking, let's clean this slate up and go on to cover the next.
Yes.
It's Gus. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, give me let's see. There are a lot of big spreads on this slate.
Yeah. It's tough.
I like big spreads.
Yeah, I bet you do.
I got they got it picked 69 each week.
If you don't nothing looks good either, that's the problem.
You know what does look good, Gov? We give you a bit of time. The buffer here. We are at 98 subscribers. If you guys want to push this to 100, we're very close. If you guys could just give us a couple more subscribers, we could do some good kind of giveaways. We could really celebrate. It'd be a great Thanksgiving show to say we're at 100 subscribers. Just saying.
All right. I think I'm going to take. Wow, I can't believe it. No. Like, all of these look god-awful this week. Follow the money. Steelers plus 2.5.
I really like that game.
I don't.
I don't either.
Well, okay. Why do you not think the Steelers would win? Just out of curiosity. What is the recipe for them to lose?
Sorry, Donnie, what was the question?
What's the recipe for the Steelers to lose that game? No Deshaun Watson, no Nick Chubb. Amari Cooper has to go off against a good Steelers defense?
Well, the Browns' defense is also very, very good, and the Steelers' offense is still struggling. I mean, they're not horrible.
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
but
the Steelers are nothing great to, like, say that they're going to just outpace this amazing Cleveland defense. And when it comes to the offensive struggles, like, Watson's been out basically all year and hasn't looked great when he was in there. So, is that actually a minus that Watson is out?
Well, first of all, let's all take
and Chubb went out week 2
against the same team.
So they've been having this run game all year without Chubb, and they've also had basically a different quarterback a lot of the time, and Watson hasn't looked great. So I still think with all of that, this Cleveland team is better than this Pittsburgh team. The only thing that tells me Pittsburgh could win this game is the fact that there's somehow this team that's above 500 with Mike Tomlin. Like, they're the anomaly. Cleveland should win this home game, no problem.
I'll tell you what it is. It's DTR. I mean, he's not, from what you saw anyway, he doesn't look like he's going to be able to do anything against Steelers defense.
You saw him against a really good Ravens defense once in the regular season, but the preseason, if you took a bigger sample size, he looked amazing. And
even if he looks bad and they bench him for PJ Walker, like, I'm not really thinking that either of those is that much. Like, there is a chance the Steelers defense is just amazing and shuts down Cleveland. Yes. Which is why I'm taking the Steelers plus the points. But, like, when it comes to, like, why are the Steelers not the favorites, it's because they're not a good team on the road against the divisional opponent that should be able to beat them. But the Steelers also have this weird Mike Tomlin way better than they are record. And that's the thing. You look at Pittsburgh, it's not as bad as like the Giants last year where they like were a pseudo playoff team, but also were the worst team in football by every metric. If you started like looking at individual players and wide receiver core and all that, the Giants were god awful. And now you see this year that they didn't get any better and they are literally the worst team. They just played above their heads last year. I think somehow Tomlin's getting Pittsburgh to do that every year and play above their heads. And so,
And
like,
that's where I
Pittsburgh is
find
not
them,
as
yeah.
good as you think they are, which means they probably should lose a road game in the division to a
But
team with an amazing defense. And that is my thought on that.
I think it's well constructed thought, and the thing is you could say like maybe the Browns aren't great, but they don't need to be great. The one greatness in this game is the Browns.
Now, I'll give you that. Like, it'll probably be a close. Like, I'm taking the points because the Browns could win by a field goal like they did against Baltimore.
Right, like they did against the 49ers.
the other thing
But
about
I don't think the Browns blow them out. No.
and the fact that the Cleveland Browns had to work out Joe Flacco is a really bad sign for DTR and PJ Walker. That means they're not happy with either quarterback.
Is it though? Because maybe that's saying that Joe Flacco is a better backup, and they're ready to see what they got in DTR. That's how I read it.
DTR to me, I have not been impressed with him so far as a rookie, and it's just hard to judge quarterbacks who are rookies because it's just brutal to play when you're a rookie.
Bad, yeah. First of all, it's hard enough to play as a rookie, but when you lose your best offensive weapon that you've been prepared for all season to have as a rookie too, when you weren't supposed to start, that's tough. He's in a very tough situation.
Can I at least make the contrarian point? You remember they had Joshua Dobbs on that roster. They traded Joshua Dobbs because they believed in DTR. This was always the plan, gentlemen. Whether we like it or not, they were planning on playing DTR if Watson did not pan out. They were hoping it wasn't going to go that way.
And start him so many times.
Yeah, Logan, I think I have to disagree with that. I think I have to chalk this one up to the Browns making a dumb move because this is the same team that traded for Deshaun Watson's massive contract the Texans gave him. So I wouldn't trust moves that the Browns make.
No, you're wrong about that, first of all. The Browns signed that contract. The Texans never signed that deal. That was complete.
I thought they had some left over
They had
money.
some left over, but it wasn't.
Either way, this is semantics. Now, I'm just saying they traded away Joshua Dobbs, who was obviously we've seen it. He is a valuable backup, right? He is a valuable piece. If Watson didn't work, they believe that DTR was the guy. He had one bad performance against what you might consider the elite defense, if it's not the Browns and the Ravens, and people want to go up on him. He didn't even look that bad to me. I just find it funny how we cheered because we love C.J. Stroud, who looks really good, and Will Levis came in and looked pretty good his first game, and then we're like, oh, well, this rookie couldn't possibly look good with the best defense in the league. No, not against the Steelers. The Steelers are too good.
I was low on Levis even when he did look good. I was low on Stroud for a couple weeks. I don't take much
that's
on
what I'm saying, though. That's a bias, Donnie. You're low on every rookie.
Right, and I'm going to be really low on you if you're playing one of the best defenses in the league.
He plays for the best defense in the league in the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah. And sorry, Logan, I have to push back on that as well because Dorian Thompson-Robinson may have only been a fifth-round rookie, and I wouldn't go as far as to say he looked completely terrible, but against the Baltimore Ravens, he definitely struggled.
Well, no, Evan, what I'm saying is our opinion doesn't matter. They traded Dobbs because they believe in DTR. You can say they're a terrible franchise all you want, and just like you might want to wish that you can get Ben Roethlisberger in this game, but that's not happening either.
Oh, so, God.
We can play this historic game, but I think we got to look at Week 11 of this year, and I don't think that the Steelers are head and shoulders above the Browns. But I think even now we spent way too much time on this game. I think the whole point of took this game was because the Browns are 2.5.
Yeah,
it's going to be 13-10.
Which is fine.
If it's 13-10, like basically if it's 13-10 anyway, like I probably am. Well, I mean, if it's 13-10 Cleveland, I just barely lose. But if it's 12-10, if it's 10-9,
exactly. And we're gonna get back into this Thompson Robinson discussion because he's minimum price and he has rushing upside. He is a cheap version of Justin Fields his rookie year, if nothing else. I mean, I'm not saying you got to play it. I'm saying you got to consider making a move like that. And I think there's some interesting builds you can have. But let's get on to my pick, unless you guys have something else you want to add.
Have at it, Logan.
So there's so many things I like this week that I don't think you guys will take it. But the obvious one for me is I want the Chargers -3 against a bottom team in the Packers. I think the Packers have been terrible. I think the Packers continue to get terrible. They can't even get their weapons the ball. Watson is one of their youngest, brightest. Like maybe you're having a bad season, but you can develop a young guy, and they haven't even found him the ball. Like they're not even. It doesn't even look like they have any kind of youth movement or development or progress. It just looks like they've given up. What was perceived as supposed to be a good defense has been misfiring. Their best corner has been trying to come back, Alexander, but now that they're basically out of it, I don't see him even pushing it to come back. Yeah, their offensive line is, I think, honestly, a minus, a bottom 3 offensive line, essentially, maybe even the worst offensive line in the league. Like, they're bad. If it wasn't for the Titans, I would obviously – I mean, I think they're clearly the worst offensive line in the NFC. I think that's easy to say. And the Chargers, that's the one thing the Chargers do. They have Bosa, they have Mack. They get pressure. And, I think it's similar to what Gov was saying with the Steelers. It's like if you looked at the records, that's the only reason you would think, like, maybe the Steelers could beat the Browns. The Chargers, you look at the record and you're like, wait, but they have so much talent, they should be better. And yeah, they should. And you can make all the jokes, and they've disappointed just like the Bills and everything else. But, like, if I'm going to just judge on this week and you're going to give me that much talent against the underperforming Packers talent, who I don't think were ever as talented, week 1 to week 11, I think this is an easy one, obvious.
Yeah, and let's not look over the fact Khalil Mack has 9 sacks at 32 years old. He has not slowed down.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is the one thing their defense does do is get pressure against the Packers, who obviously have kind of given up the idea. I mean, you can even argue that they should have had more sacks, but Jordan Love has some mobility and probably avoided taking some hits, where other quarterbacks would have probably taken more sacks.
This may be stating the obvious, but I just got a notification that Keenan Allen is expected to play against the Packers.
Right. That's a good one
After
too.
full practice on Friday, I sort of expected that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. I also want to mention really quickly, and I'll throw it over to you guys if you got a comment. But Justin Fields, or not Justin Fields, Justin Herbert has looked better each week with his finger recovery. His finger is looking better. He looks more confident in it. So I like the Chargers.
The one last thing I'll say about this game, too, especially on the Green Bay Packers side, Christian Watson was made to be looking better than he actually is when Aaron Rodgers was in his last season with this Packer team. Mm-hmm. And even with those numbers, I'm not convinced that he was going to be the solid number 1 guy. Romeo Doubs is looking a little bit better than him this year, and I figured that was going to be bad news for one of those two when Jaden Reed was drafted with a second-round pick. One of those two was going to suffer from it, and I think it's going to be Watson now, to my surprise.
To be fair, Jalen Reed has actually looked pretty good. He's just limited on speed, but he's got some sure hands. Like, he probably looks like the most promising of all the receivers.
Yeah, and I'm a speed isn't everything type of guy, but today's NFL is faster, and they want speed.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts on this game, or should we go on to a second pick?
Well, I just want to bounce off the speed and everything. I agree, speed isn't everything, but at minimum, you need to be quick. You can't be,
elusive,
slow,
right?
Heavy on your feet, not able to make cuts. Like that can't happen.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it's always been. It's just even more now.
Yeah, that sounds like athletic. Like, yes, you need to be athletic, but a lot more, especially at wide receiver, you also need to just be fast.
Are we snaking?
Yeah.
Yes.
It means it's my pick, right?
Mm-hmm. Number 2.
I want the Raiders plus 13.5. I think you look at these teams and they are polar opposite of what's occurring. Maybe the Dolphins are more talented, but if you looked at it from a momentum standpoint, the Raiders on the up and up with their kind of uh, energy level. You know, they got rid of McDaniels. They're feeling good. You know, AP's having gimmicks. He's letting them like
Jack Jones.
well, I mean, truly, Donnie, there is something to that. Like they're still attracting free agents of high talent, you know, and potential to come to that team. That speaks to what they do believe in their future and what they're trying to build. You know, they're giving away like free parking for the week, you know, free practices, allowing players to smoke in the locker room, just like having fun. You know, vibes are good with the Raiders as talented as the Dolphins have been, they've been a disappointment. You could say they've disappointed as much from a talent perspective as uh, the Buffalo Bills. The problem is the record looks pretty good still for the Dolphins. But if you look at it from a talent perspective and what you would think the Dolphins would be at given their talent, you know, Hill, Waddle, Tua, you would expect more. I think the Dolphins have underperformed based on their talent, and they're waiting. They're a trap waiting to happen from an energetic team like AP's Raiders. You still have Devontae Adams. You still got Jacob. Yes, that offense is very condensed, and you know where they're going to go. But you also have a young rookie who's developed at tight end more and gained more confidence. I like what the Raiders are doing. Obviously, wouldn't take them on the money line, but I do think, like, I wouldn't be surprised if this game was close, and even if the Raiders were to win. But I think 13.5 is almost it's safe. Like, I wouldn't say the money line is safe, but I think the 13. I'd be shocked if the Dolphins could beat them by 14 points. I genuinely would.
I think I have to disagree here, Logan. Not that I think you're dead wrong on this, because the Raiders could be a bit of a surprise to the Dolphins, because here's the thing. Aiden O'Connell has not yet been allowed to throw more than 27 times. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm sorry. He threw 39 times against the Chargers in Week 4, but so far lately, he's been throwing below 30 attempts. So what that tells me is that they're going to see if they can have Jacobs just run all over this terrible rush defense the Dolphins have. So they don't even have to get a big game out of Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers, or even Michael Meyer for that matter. And it's possible they keep it close, but I still see the Dolphins winning this.
All I'm saying is that I know the Dolphins are talented, but they've disappointed based on their expectation, I feel like. But they played in a division that has greatly disappointed league-wide, and so no one's talking about it. Like, everyone thought the Jets would be better. Everyone thought even the Patriots would be better. And so I think the Dolphins have, skated by as a good team.
I'm low on Dolphins since forever. Like, I did not think the Dolphins was built for late in the year.
Yeah.
I've said that since week.
I'll let you go, Donnie, but that's kind of my point. Is everyone else in the division has been worse than them, so it makes them look better than what I think they are. I don't think
they're winning the division. It's like, oh, okay, cool. They're winning the division. The Bills are not as good as we thought. That's what it really is. But if the Bills were what we thought they were going to be, this Dolphins team would not only be second in the division, but they'd be low end in the playoffs because the Bills would have been able to beat them. So, this Dolphins team's been very overrated. If they were 5-4 right now, which if the Bills were legit, we'd be very disappointed.
I think we covered it pretty well. I'm going to give Gov the last thoughts on this, and if he's got anything in this game. I think it could be a fun DFS game to target Gov. I don't see much else, though.
Could be a fun DFS game. Like, the Dolphins should win. I hate these large spreads because, like, I know we've seen it a lot more this year. Like, I will preface it by this year looks like an outlier year.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't see 2 touchdown blowouts all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So, like, I'm with Logan on, like, I'll take the points and take a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But Miami at home could just blow out the Raiders. So
yeah, that's the interesting part. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it could happen.
It opened at 10. If it had stayed around 10-11 like the Dallas game is, I'd be more inclined.
Mhm.
But betting it up to the full 2 touchdowns, like backdoor covering by the Raiders on a team that basically has nothing to play for, so they're chucking it for pure stats and everything. Like, garbage time backdoor covers for a team like that are really easy. So, like, I'm not against the Raiders pick on that.
I think that's the last thing I'll say is I think that's why it's so appealing, because if you would look at this game in week 1, you wouldn't have guessed this is where we're at. You would guess the Dolphins have dominated and that the Raiders were competitive and this game would be close. And so, like, I wouldn't get 13.5 in this game if you would have set the lines in week 1, I don't feel like. I feel like they had Jimmy G, they had, Adams. Everyone thought, like, McDaniels will bring over this, like, bend up but don't break defense, and Crosby's coming on. Like, I just felt like people thought more of the Raiders, and yeah, they should have probably been better, but the Dolphins, I mean, should obviously probably be like an AFC superstar at this point, and they've obviously regressed too a bit. So I do think it'll be interesting, almost like a Cinderella effect in this game, where it's like maybe eventually somebody shows up and we get what we thought we were going to get, but it'll be interesting. I'll just say that. We can go on to the next pick.
All right, is that me?
I believe that, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Chiefs.
It's a good one.
I'll just take that. Chiefs minus 2.5.
Any thoughts? Because we don't usually get to talk about these games with the DFS lineup builder. So any reason why you're doing that?
It's worth noting that it just changed to 3.
No, it's been at 3. That's what I thought.
It opened at 3. I've seen it go between 3 and 2.5. What does DK have it at?
They have it
3.
at 3.
Okay.
Also, I'm on the Eagles at 3 as well.
Minus 3.
Yeah, I'll take them plus 3 on that.
Cool. So we can talk about this game as a whole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Chiefs can keep up with this Eagles team offensively. I know their defense is great, but that Eagles offense has so much talent. If this turns into a higher scoring game, I just don't expect the Chiefs to be able to even put up 30 on the defense. So
I don't see it being a high scoring game at all.
Me either.
I expect it to be like 28-20, maybe it goes 30-20, 31-20, but I don't think the Chiefs will put up points.
Almost
20-17 is probably closer in my book.
I would agree with that at most.
I'll go back here in a second, but almost every primetime game this season has went under the point total. This one's at 45.5. I might take the over, but you could obviously see the under, working out. I think both defenses could. You got any other thoughts, Gov, or is this just like a misprint?
Honestly, I was just looking at games on my list, and it's like, this one doesn't look bad. Like, none of them look good, but this one doesn't look bad, and it gives me a late hammer. But, like, to be fair, I have no conviction tonight. This is a really weird week for me. I don't really have a lot of energy for the show. Sorry, everyone. It's just a weird week.
I'm also sick, so I don't have the energy.
I have nothing to do with being sick. I'm just like, it's a weird week.
It's a weird week because Donnie is sick. Gov doesn't have the energy. I work. I picked up with some overtime, so I work in like 2 hours from now. So I actually have a hard out. But, maybe this is the week, like we talked about last week with the technical issues. Wouldn't this be funny? This is the week that we win. If we just keep showing up for you guys, no matter what happens, rain, shine, or indifference, we're here twice a week, and that's what's important. And, go ahead, Danny. You know what I'm saying?
On the game. Is this not the least talked about Super Bowl rematch? that's ever happened. Usually Super Bowl rematches are much more hyped up, and I have seen no energy for this game. Really.
Maybe that's a good thing though, because here's what I think it is. If I'm being honest, Johnny, I think both teams are very good. I think they're very good opposed to what they used to be in the Super Bowl. I honestly think the Chiefs are the best defense out of these two. Where in the Super Bowl matchup, I think their offense was way better at the time, and I think the Eagles actually have the better offense over the Chiefs in this matchup. So I just think we're getting a polar opposite, a body switch kind of moment for these two teams. I think it's going to be a good game. I just think they're taking on different identities.
I do think it's interesting because it's almost like they know each other because they played last year. It's such a on a big stage. But
I have one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's not the same. Like they go 4 years without playing each other, but this is so close to their last game with each other.
I just have one question about this game. If Taylor Swift does not show up, how well do the Chiefs play?
God damn it. Can we stop?
I'm a Swiftie. What can I say?
No, but okay. I do think. No, I'm being serious. I do think there is a energy around that now, though. Whether it is affecting Travis Kelce or affecting I do think it factors in to the attention of the league, and whether it has football merit or not, I do think it factors into the primetime games, to the lines, to the over. Whether it's right or wrong, I think is a discussion unto itself, but I do think it factors in. Would you honestly say that?
Is there. Yeah, if Taylor Swift is there, how much views do you think it gets?
I mean, honestly, there was a rumor that apparently their parents are going to be on live TV or something, and they're going to pan up to the meeting. At some point, that has got to piss off Andy Reid and football purists. And whether you like it or not, at this point it's bleeding over to the game, and it is a bit annoying. I mean, we talked about annoyance with the Cardinals and Texans game to come full circle on the spreads. I'm a bit annoyed, but not for those two, but for the story outside of the story. It's gone too far for me.
I mean, Kelce. Well, last time because I don't pay attention to this anymore because it's stupid in my opinion. But the last time anyone said anything about Taylor coming to the games to Andy Reid, he said as long as Kelce keeps playing like this, he can bring whoever he wants. I mean, I really think that's how he feels. I don't think he cares.
Yeah. I think, honestly, if I was to give it another take, it would be I think the one thing we are learning from this is that the football players are humans, right? And there are human things that happen outside of football that affect football. And if this can teach us anything, if we take a microscope view of this and applied it to football 5 years from now or 5 years prior to this, it's one thing is you should realize these players are real people. Their parents matter, Thanksgiving matters, these schedules matter. If that's the one thing you take from this, in all honesty, I think that'd be it for me. Are you guys ready to build some lineups?
No.
Evan needs the last pick.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, Evan.
Yeah. I lost track of where we were. I wasn't prepared. I thought we had someone else in front of me. I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Donnie sort of made his pick with mine because we both picked.
That's right.
Game.
That's what threw me off. Okay. So I will. Let's see. I was gonna go the Giants and Commanders game, but I was starting to get cold feet on that one.
It was too. It was 10.5 earlier this week. I really like that.
Yeah, it's 8.5 right now, but even then, these are two shitty teams that I'm kind of scared to even touch at this point. But it's sorry. Give me one.
No, you're fine because this kind of lends itself to the lineup builds because we talked about games we like, players we like, and then we have an idea. So we all kind of give people a preview now.
Okay, I'm gonna commit to this one, which is probably going to be a bit risky, but give me the Minnesota Vikings at +3 over the Denver Broncos. 5-game win streak with the Vikings is something to definitely take note of, whereas this Vikings team, this offense is no joke. They still have energy, even with Josh Dobbs coming over. Similar to how Baker Mayfield came over with the Rams and just beat a shitty Raider team. This one has a lot more power. Dobbs has a lot of great weapons, and Jefferson is not ready to come back yet, but when he comes back, that's going to make this Vikings team finally a playoff team in the NFC. And this Broncos team, okay, Sean Payton's not a bad coach. He's still doing the best he can with this team. What are the Broncos right now? They are... Yeah, they're a 4-5 team. They're not...
I think they're on the upswing.
They're on a mini upswing, but I don't think it's going to be enough to beat this Vikings high-powered offense because this Broncos team, they're not too bad themselves, but I think a lot of people slept on this Vikings defense, including me this year, where the Vikings defense in the first 3 weeks looked fucking terrible. But they're proving me wrong. They're actually having a few people making playmakers, and I think they're going to beat the Broncos.
Evan, you made a great point at the end, but I actually think the inverse to that point. The defense that's on the upswing and looking a lot different and better is the God-snapping version of the Denver Broncos. Since they played the Bears, it's like that defense decided they were going to go into a transformational stage. And I don't know, like, if they were a weight loss program, you would be amazed where they're at this point in the season, opposed to where they were in Chicago just a few weeks ago. I will say this: Russell Wilson played the best game I've seen him play in 5 years on prime time. Threw some amazing passes. It's clear that Jerry Jeudy's not happy there, but he's like really pissed off, motivated, like playing for the team to prove to the team that he's pissed off. It's weird. There's weird energy there. It's very weird. It's like a witch doctor, but it's also like a carnival witch doctor who's also enjoying and making money. And like it really does feel like a circus over with the Denver Broncos, but somehow they're turning profit. That's how I think of this team. It's like a circus that keeps going town to town and is just turning a profit, and you don't know how, you don't know why. You wanted to give up on this team like 10 years ago and say that Russell sucks and just like give up. But Sean Payton, for some reason, has turned that voodoo magic into something. Honestly, if I made a bet in this game, and I would bet the Denver Broncos 10.5 to cover against the Vikings.
Well, I wouldn't do that against a Viking team that is 4-1 on the road this season. They're playing in Denver, and that's why I think the Vikings are especially going to win, where the Broncos are only 2-3 at home. They are not a good football team, and this Vikings team is better than people expected.
We talked a bit off camera about Sauce Gardner being the number one corner. I think Patrick Surtain still has something to say about that.
He's definitely up there.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Denver
played players like.
What do you mean, Donnie?
Oh, Donnie dropped out.
Oh, darn it.
I don't know. Yeah, there was a Viking that went after Donnie for whatever take he was about to make. Gov, you got any takes on this?
No, not in particular. I Denver's defense has been playing a lot better. The Vikings actually started the season with a lot of hype on them. People thought they were going to be the one to win that division if it wasn't Detroit. There was a lot of that going on. And then they come out and lose all of their home games to start the year and look like absolute crap. Barely beat the Panthers on the road. I was actually surprised right now to hear that they're actually 4-1 on the road. I assumed that they'd been losing and were a 3-win team and didn't have a shot at the number one pick, but were still the worst team in the league. But if they've actually been 4-1 on the road, then you're basically telling me they're the Raiders. They're like a 500 team.
Basically, even though the Vikings are 6-4, which is amazing.
Yeah, I did not realize that.
That's what I'm saying. This team's been.
I would have believed you more if you would have told me they were 3-7.
Yeah, for real.
I meant it when I said they've been like a circus that's actually turned profit. We wanted to laugh at them and think they were a joke or kind of this laughing stock.
Is Jefferson back this week?
No, next week.
Okay.
And even then, I still think they're beating the Broncos.
Donnie, you get the last point, man.
Yeah. I just want to say, I really think this Vikings team has hit their ceiling. If Kirk was playing, I would still believe them. I was believing them for a long time. But their time has come, I think. This is it.
You think the Broncos are snapping their win streak?
I think the Broncos snap the win streak. I think they come down to earth a bit. Because we all know this Vikings team, after starting, what was their start? Their start 1-4?
Something like that.
A lot of people were out on them. I stayed, we had this conversation. I thought they were going to bounce back. They did. But I think this is it.
I don't want to let the cat out of the bag as we transition to a lineup build here. Next week, we are going to do a special Thanksgiving show unless, for whatever reason, holiday schedules do not match up. So the reason I'm putting this on notice is the intention, the hope is that we can do something special for you guys. So that way, if it doesn't happen, you guys know that our hearts are with you and we want it. We want to celebrate football because I do think Thanksgiving is a really fun time to kind of just like sit back and enjoy football. Like it's a fun slate. The NFL really embraced it recently, adding the late game, making a 3-game slate. I do think it's a fun slate to kind of consider. But I obviously it's a busy time for my work, so there might be a chance I pick up some overtime shifts for some people that can spend some time with their family and kids and stuff of that nature. We got to make sure these guys don't have to travel. But the intention is to try to do a special show for you guys. So stay tuned for that. Again, if you like the consistency, we're really trying here. We know we're a small podcast, but we're really trying to be consistent and do some special stuff this year. Hopefully you guys appreciate it. Are you guys ready to build? Is there any pillars, any ideas, any concepts you want to marry? We can
I have something I want to try.
What's that, Donnie? What do you got?
I wanted to play. We can decide which one. I know which one Logan's going to lean for. But I want to get Adams and one of the 2 Dolphins receivers. And just try to build up.
Cool.
Gov,
I can start with that as a core.
And like before we do one core or the other, I'm just saying, is there any other big concepts that you want to focus on tonight? Because I do think that kind of bleeds into a better conversation when we get our ideas out on the table, and then we kind of just talk about it and then build lineups as they come. So anything you want to make sure we cover in terms of lineup construction this week?
Honestly, no. Like I've barely been able to dig into the slate personally until just today. So like everything I've heard has been people talking about Arizona Houston. Yeah. And I don't want to play any of that game outside. Like I considered Stroud, but that game does not look very appealing to me.
Yeah.
So like if everyone's playing it, it just seems like that's an easy way to get different. I can do basically whatever as long as I'm not playing that. But then I have to look and see what are the good plays that aren't Arizona Houston, and like I haven't been able to do a lot of research, and like I'll admit I'm kind of tired with everything. NBA has been a killer to me this week.
Yeah,
like very bad. I've been very bad running in it is what I mean.
Arizona's been a weird game because that's weirdly popped up for me a lot too. But now that I'm hearing it's chalky, I hate it. So,
well, because it's getting chalky, I think that's what I want to do as a pillar. Pick 3 players from that game and then go from there.
Force us to get a different lineup. Okay,
so
that's not a bad one.
So here's kind of my overview, and may I just say really quickly, Gov, this will sound like an asshole, and I don't mind doing it because I think you'll know where I'm coming from. I love that you kind of like feel out of it this week because you're so usually prepared with analytics and you usually have an idea of the slate. I think maybe this like unique style, this different style might open up a different kind of pathway for you. You might surprise yourself this week and build something totally unique.
I'm legit thinking about not playing.
Yeah, or maybe that's it. Maybe you're like not playing. You'll have a bird's eye view, basically, a different view, and then so next week you're ready.
I mean, if I don't play, I won't even watch football tomorrow. Legit.
Fair point.
Like, if I don't play, I will take time off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe this lineup is enough for you to, like, you know, like,
yeah,
okay,
we'll see how it goes.
This.
Like, I'm trying to think about it right now, but, like, I do not have any conviction plays or anything on this slate. I'm
Not
looking
even
at my
the free
projections.
lineups?
I'm probably just going to be, like, straight up looking at that shit to fill in guys.
Yeah. Well, so I had one theory, and I think it will fit well with what we're trying to do here. Is I really want to try to focus on trying to get as much points from each player we put in a lineup. And I know it sounds like that's what we do every week, but really try to get 30 points out of every player you put in the lineup. If you don't think a guy has a chance to get 30, he's probably a bad play. Because if we're building, tournament lineups, which we are, then we do need the high upside. You do need 25, at least 20 to 25 points from these guys. And, I think Donnie picked a game that could be interesting with the Dolphins in Raiders game. And, fading chalk makes sense for what Gov was saying. But I really want to focus on that as like a concept. It's like, don't just play a guy because you think it's a fun play. Play a guy because you think you can score points. We got to get close to 300 points to take one of these down. I think that's got to be the goal. But so where do we want to start? Do we want to start on that Dolphins Raiders game?
Yeah,
Sure.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any
I'm willing to hear
consensus about
either
this?
side. Honestly, we don't even need to do Adams. I just want one of the Raiders stars and one of the Dolphins receiving options.
Okay.
However we feel like
Is there any consensus though in terms of what we all like?
HN.
I
Adams.
prefer HN to Mostert.
I
Yeah.
would just go Adams and Waddle, personally.
Yeah, Waddle hasn't shown anything this year. Like, I would rather either pick a running back or, like, if we're going to pick a receiver, we need to just figure out a way to do Adams and Tyreek.
Yeah, Adams and Waddle seem awfully expensive for guys who are averaging 14 fantasy points per game.
Well,
Yeah, at least Adams has the volume to have a 30-point ceiling. Waddle doesn't this year.
What if we tried that then? Because I think that's so unique and maybe the most difficult of the pairings we mentioned, Hill and Adams. Like, isn't that the most difficult?
It
Well,
is, and that's
maybe-
what I wanted.
Maybe it is, but there's also, like, if you look at the optimal lineups, like, I think it's entirely doable this
Yeah.
way.
Well,
Because, like, the optimals are jamming in the cheaper running backs already.
let me refresh. Evan, what was your main point you wanted to try to do in a lineup this week?
Well, so because that Arizona-Houston game is starting to get very, very chalky,
Yeah.
I was thinking I would let the three of you pick one player from that lineup, and then we can pick from the rest of the slate, see what we come up with when we're forcing ourselves to pick from that particular game.
Okay, I get that. So we can definitely do that in this lineup. If you looked up my kind of idea of like try to get as many 30-point scorers in a lineup as possible, I think if anyone's going to get around 30, it would be these two guys. And Adams being 7,900, I think is underpriced. You could say Hill is top end, but like he has a chance to get 40. Like how many receivers have a chance to go over 30? I don't think CD Lamb does. I know he did last week, but that was like an outlier game. I don't think they pushed the gas that heavy against the Panthers.
If any Dolphins are going to achieve 30 fantasy points, it's going to be either Mostert or Achane. I don't think it's going to be Tyreek.
I think Tyreek has as much a chance as them, but I would
Tyreek's
definitely
average
put it more on the
decent.
run game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this is going to be very run heavy, at least to open the game.
I think you guys made some good points. I'm going to let Donnie decide here. Are we going Achane or Hill? Because I like Hill.
I'm going Hill. I don't like playing HM.
Okay.
I hate.
So why don't we try that then? Why don't we try Adams and Hill? Because I do think Adams has a chance for 30, and I don't know if there's anyone under 8K that has a chance for 30 more than Adams. Agreed? Or do you think
That's fine by
Jacobs has that chance? Because Jacobs is about $1,000 cheaper.
I don't care which one it is. I just want to see a Raiders and.
Okay, let's just leave that
Dolphins.
the way it is for now and see what else we come up with. Is there? So what else would we want to do with this one?
Well, I mean, we're going to need value in it. So, like, which one of the value running backs that are popping do you guys like more? Brian Robinson or Devin Singletary?
Robinson.
I think B. Rob has the better chance. Yeah.
Yep. He's the only running back playing that's of value, in my opinion. Like,
And the reason why is I think Robinson has a chance for his role to grow, where Singletary I think is already at a ceiling. Like I think the ownership and the expectation is already there. With Gibson being out, Robinson could just get a ton more usage than we.
Yeah. Brian Robinson's backup for this game with no Gibson is going to be the rookie Chris Rodriguez, who is a bruiser type of running back, similar to like a Zamir White on the Raiders, where he's not going to get volume the way Gibson was.
And if he does, it will be goal line carries. It would be that kind of
but that's
skill
going to go to
back.
Rob.
Well, the goal line carries are probably going to start off with B. Rob, and if the game is a blowout, then they'll give C. Rod some carries.
Right, but that's what I mean. It's like because Robinson's so good as a goal, like the only thing Rodriguez I think offers is that kind of goal line back. I don't think he's going to like become a great passing option or anything like that. But I think Robinson uptick potential is there. I think he's just going to get more usage. That's how I'm thinking.
Yep, agreed.
So, did you want to go to this Cardinals game, this Cardinals Houston game, right, Evan? You want to pick somebody that no one else is playing? Am I understanding that correctly?
Well,
No. What he was saying is like, first off, we should do it in another lineup. I don't want to add it to this one.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not effective.
Fair point.
But like what he was saying is, me, you, and Donnie all pick a play from that game, and then we build a lineup after we do that.
yes.
Got it. Okay, that's fair because I got to play that. That makes sense for a different lineup. Anything else in this lineup for sure? Because I have an idea, but I don't like. We got to save some money, and I have a couple options where we could do that.
I just want to go back to a draft in a sense at this point.
Fair enough. We can do that. Where do you want to start then?
Let's just go the order that we started with, I guess. Go reverse order. So you, Logan, then Gov. Was it Gov or yeah, it was Gov, I think.
Okay, so my pick then.
So reverse order, I'm last. Yeah.
Let me get Parham in this lineup without Everett.
Oh, I didn't know Everett was out. That's a good one.
I did not. That's
Everett is out. He's already the touchdown guy. We're playing Robinson for the goal line touchdown. We're going touchdown heavy for this lineup.
All right. I still think we're gonna need value somewhere.
I can go really cheap at 10 if we need to. I could go like Pat Feinberg, who I think is a good play this week too.
No.
I like Parham for 600 more.
Wow, I didn't know Fryermuth was 2,500. What the fuck?
Yeah, they just didn't price him back.
Yeah, I'll be playing some of them this week for sure.
In Jigba.
I like that one.
Lockett's might miss. So, let's see if this rookie can do something.
And that's the thing about Jigba too is whether Lockett misses or not, he's obviously banged up, and it's shown with
Jigba banged up all year.
Lockett is actually expected to play against the Rams.
He also hasn't practiced all week.
No, and he's got a hamstring issue, which means that I think they could possibly limit his snap count, and that's going to be JSN's chance.
I think if you looked at his numbers, Lockett, that is, I got him on the screen. He's been very boomer bust recently, where it's not the consistent Lockett we kind of came to expect. I don't mind that play.
All right, I'm gonna give it over to you, Evan, since it's my sort of thing anyway.
Sure. I will take Cortland Sutton. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, flex. Yeah.
You always do this on me, man. That's a primetime game.
Oh yeah, we didn't pick up. It's Sunday slate. Yeah.
Farts. I forgot that's a Sunday night game. Okay, sorry, folks.
You gotta do that every week now, Evan. That's your thing, because I'm telling you, like, it's pretty consistent every week.
The primetime games have such good, juicy matchups sometimes, though, or players.
I gotta reserve the lineup for you every week, then.
Let's see. I'm gonna go safe and let's go DJ Moore, because with Justin Fields coming back, I think Moore is gonna give the Lions a hard time.
For the sake of time, I'll just put these players in and I'll adjust the afternoon schedule as we need. I'll make sure we got it right, but for now, I'll just make sure we got him in the lineup.
Yeah, I like his price.
Yep. Are we staking picks or no?
I think so. Let's just snake for the.
Okay, yeah, so I'll go again then.
No, it's mine. If we're staking.
Oh, okay, yeah, so you go. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put our defense in there. Can we afford to go the Jets?
Yeah,
I like it.
This week.
They're really cheap.
They're really cheap. You're playing it. Offensive coordinator hasn't fixed things. Like, that's a good defense.
I want to throw in one of my favorite quarterbacks this week in Geno. If we're gonna play Smith and Jigba anyway, I want to play Geno.
See, this is why I kind of like doing it with you guys, because there's not a lineup in the world where I ever played Geno Smith, but because I build with you guys, it forces me to do some things that aren't comfortable, which I kind of like sometimes.
Yeah, and against the Rams, I think that's going to be a good game for him too.
Yeah, I never say this, but I really like Geno this week.
5,500 is an interesting range here. I don't know whose pick it is.
It comes
back to Evan.
Yeah, and
it gives you just enough.
Yeah, and the top player I can pick for running back is Javonte Williams, and I'm perfectly fine with putting him in.
Again, night slate.
Son of a bitch. I keep looking at that. Let's see.
Singletary makes sense here.
Yeah, Singletary. We got to go Singletary here.
Yeah, the chalk. So we're just going to play the chalk cheap running backs and fit in everything. Yep. See, this is what's looking like optimals are spitting out this week.
I will say
this is like a version like optimals love Brock Purdy and Kyler and are building around those guys. But if you just locked in Geno, this would probably be something it would get close to.
Right.
And Logan, I know you brought up Jaylen Warren. I know that everybody came out and said, "Oh, Jaylen Warren's now the starting running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers." I don't give a shit. It's a split backfield, and Jaylen Warren just doesn't get enough red zone shit. So I'm out on Warren.
I was gonna make that point.
I don't play anyone against Cleveland.
Hell no.
That was exactly my point. I was just gonna say that's why I'm going Singletary, even though it's chalky. I would rather eat the chalk because I think we got different in so many other areas.
The only thing that we could say is you could do the bring back and do Henderson, I guess, for the Rams.
Darrell Henderson?
Yeah.
No, fuck that.
Only under. I agree, but I'm saying that would be.
Stafford is supposed to be back, and he does throw the running backs more. So if you thought Henderson was the pass catcher, I could see it, but I don't like it. I think you just eat the chalk in that scenario.
I agree. We don't have enough anyway as it is. That probably makes sense.
So let's go to Evan's idea right away. That way we can get this out of the way.
Yeah, and I'll let you three guys pick your favorite player from this matchup.
Right. Yep. Who wants to go first?
Oh, let me
I guess I'll get it out of the way. Just play the tight end McBride. He's like the only one I actually am still willing to play at his chalkiness. Trey McGronk.
It makes sense. I would much rather take a chance on volume than like hope for Marquise Brown, who hasn't been there.
I will say, I do think you can play quarterback here because we have to pick for this game, and it's 3 players. Our favorite, he said. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm fine.
That's fine.
I'm not going to play one. I would go with James Conner.
I would. You took my pick, Donnie, so hopefully that means it's.
I can change. I can pivot. I have another second one if you want.
Who's your favorite guy, Logan? If it's not Connor.
If it's not Connor, I was going to go with Wilson. I thought Wilson showed some stuff
Oh, we're going 3 Arizona.
Well, Michael Wilson is not expected to play,
wait,
so
wait,
I
wait,
wouldn't
wait,
do
wait.
it.
Yeah, Wilson's not playing. The easy one to be different is Nico Collins.
Beautiful.
He's playing this week. No, people are going to forget about him. They saw Tank Dell do really well in his absence. I think Nico's still the number one guy. And at
Yep.
6,700, he's obviously the red zone guy too.
Mm-hmm.
So
When he's healthy, that is.
Right.
Which he is now. Okay.
Okay.
So I guess I'll take it from here now that we have our 3 from the rest of this slate.
Mhm.
And this time I'm not going to make it a primetime game, because when I look at DraftKings, I always include the primetime games, and that's my mistake.
Evan, can I get a little bit different in this and say, try not to pick a quarterback from the Arizona-Houston game? And just
Oh, no, for sure.
Okay.
No,
That was-
I wasn't even going to pick quarterback anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Fair point.
But-
I think that's interesting to do.
Yeah.
Are we gonna snake it and you're gonna start?
Yeah. Since you 3 picked, I'm gonna. Oh, I can't pick tight end. We already did.
Well, you
Let's.
That could be
You
your
could.
flex.
You could double tight end us. Yes.
Good. It might work.
Yeah.
You could. And
It
it's
makes
Well-
awful,
sense.
but you could.
So if we were gonna go double tight end for this lineup, what do you guys think about Cole Kmet at his price?
I like
I
it.
don't,
I don't
hate it.
I mean,
I
you're
like
saving
it.
money by going double tight end.
Because he's at 4,100 right now, and he's cheaper than McBride, but the Lions have good linebackers, but Kmet's he's got great hands.
Oh, yeah. Let me just make this point really quickly since we're doing this as a construction, as a theory perspective. These are the type of wide receivers we would be looking at this range. And I think McBride and Cole Kmet, who are basically 4,000, and you talk about DraftKings at point per reception, you could argue these two tight ends have a higher likelihood than a lot of these wide receivers at this range. So I don't mind this idea.
Okay, if we're gonna stick with it, then yeah, let's keep going.
So,
Let's stick with it.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Am I snaking it?
Yeah, I was about to say, are we doing the snake draft?
Okay.
or-
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's keep going then. So let's see. Terry McLaurin.
Ooh.
I love that play this week. It's on my radar too.
Me too.
Play Robinson, I would have had it.
Terry McLaurin. Whose pick is it next? It's be Donnie's, right?
Technically, it would be yours. And
Mine?
mine.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought the
But
snake
I-
went Evan, you, me, Logan.
Yeah.
Well,
I
But wait, we did it technically like the past one. I picked Nick for the Cardinals, then Logan did. So we kind of screwed the order. But I don't care either way. It's the middle pick.
Okay, yeah, I was just.
That's technically the order that we did this lineup though. So I just want to give him it to Logan.
yeah. So do you want to go or do you want me to go? It doesn't matter to
You
me.
go.
Doesn't matter to me either.
Go
Yeah.
I want to play Cooper Cup.
Okay.
He's due.
I doubt we're gonna be able to fit this.
I'm amazed he's still at 8,100 on a slump.
We can fit this.
Yeah, we could do
definitely fit. Can I see the quarterback prices?
I know how we can fit it, but you guys.
See, I know how you want to fit it, and I don't want to play
No,
that.
I'm not saying we should. I'm saying I know how to fit
No,
it.
again, I'm not saying we should or will. I'm just saying I know you know how we can fit it, and that's why I'm like,
favor and put the mid-price defense in just so I can see how much we'd have left. It would be
Carolina, I think at 2,200. Yeah.
just put it in. So 13 each. I'm doing it. Screw it. I'm putting Justin Fields in.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Gov. Right.
where is he? Just
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Ron, it's White, right? Or Robin? No, we already got
Well,
Terry
he
McLaurin.
probably does not want to play the Panthers defense, which he has back-to-back picks, so he can do whatever he wants.
Oh, I'm just walking the people through the process here, like what we have. I'm not. He can obviously pick for himself.
Well, I'm saying we'll probably take out the defense because we haven't picked. But I just wanted to see if it was
Ford makes sense.
Dueling running backs with Singletary.
I don't mind White though. White makes some sense. If you
Yeah.
think the Bills' offense is going to change, maybe you take a chance on James Cook, but he fumbled this week.
Yeah, but what doesn't make sense is that defense. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah, I don't want to play Cook or White this week if I can help it.
Well, that's up to Go, not you guys.
I know.
The problem is the only two viable running backs that we can play are the chalk guys that I don't want to play any part of.
This is probably the cheapest running back.
Again, I'm looking, and I don't think any of these guys are viable. Like outside of Singletary and Robinson, there's not a running back I want to play. To be honest, I want $400 or $300 to get up to Brees. That's like the cheapest running back I'm looking at right now.
I like Brees Hall.
So like I legit would just say I don't have a conviction. Like I'm about to look at the projections and just see who the highest 61 running back
actually like that.
is.
Let's do it. Let's put in Brees for now.
Well, no, we can't. Then we don't have $300 and you can't go down at defense anymore.
Well, you can take out Cole Kmet.
If we take out Cole Kmet, we're taking out Justin Fields. I'm not running.
Yeah, I'm not
playing. Okay. I got this, and it's my pick, so I think you guys would be okay with it. What if I subbed out Cooper Kupp for Puka? That give us an extra 1,000.
I'm just asking if you would rather sub Collins for Tank.
I wouldn't.
I think I'd rather do the Puka idea.
Because
How much does that say?
Collins will be lower owned, though. And I don't want to eat the chalk on Tank. I'm kind of with Gov, where if
Puka's only like 500 less than Kupp.
Actually, it's 1,000.
Is it?
Yeah.
1,000.
Oh, he's 72. I thought he was 76. I mixed him up.
Yeah, so we'll have 1,000 to play with here, even if we kept Kmet in the flex.
I think Kmet makes sense.
So let's do that, and now we have 700 left over.
Yeah, Gov has 2,900 to work with defense.
Yeah, and any of that really works, honestly.
You okay with that?
Well, not Arizona's defense does not work.
Not Arizona. Well, I mean, we're playing Connor. Like, just because we have Nico, we still have 2 Arizona. We could still play Arizona's defense.
Yeah. We could.
Yeah, they suck, but maybe they'll have a few good plays.
I like the Jets here.
The Jets defense is my favorite team.
And it pairs with Brees Hall. That's why another reason why I like it.
Agreed.
Do we fear overplayed the Jets defense at this price?
I don't think so, because I just look at it the variant, but you got 9 points average for a 2,600. That doesn't normally happen.
Right, they've got to be the highest owned defense this week, right? By
but
far.
it is Gov's pick, so we should give him the final thought on it.
Right.
What do you think,
Right.
Gov?
Honestly, like, defense doesn't matter this week. Highest owned defense is Miami.
Why? What are the Jets coming at about?
Then Green Bay at 2,300.
I like the Green Bay this week.
Jets are like 5th, but they're in a group of like 10 defenses that are all 5%.
Yeah, I'm slamming the Jets this week. That will be the only defense I
So do you want to?
I don't know. Joe Brady's a pretty good offensive coordinator. He was Burrow's offensive coordinator in college, and he's the guy taking over in Buffalo with Dorsey gone. So I don't know.
I don't care. The Jets defense is really good. That's the most talented defense you're ever going to get at 2,600.
Evan, you got
yeah.
a prediction?
I agree. I think if we go with the Jets, then we have an extra 300 to play with, and maybe we can upgrade. Maybe we can upgrade from Kmet if we want to go that way.
No, if anything, we'd upgrade McBride, but I don't want to do that because that's the conviction from this game.
Yeah.
Like, I think we just leave it at 300. Like anything under 500, I'm perfectly fine to leave on the table at any time.
Is there anyone 6,700 at running back or no?
Well, I mean, no, yeah. No. Like if we go up to 66, we can just play A-Chain.
You can get Pollard.
We can play Montgomery. Like there's 1,000. Like there are 1,000 running back plays I'd rather play in this 66. Like plug in A-Chain.
Tony Pollard.
Like, Brees becomes A-Chain. I just said Brees because he was the cheapest guy I'm actually on my list that's not, like, on my list because of ownership.
I really
Like,
like
the
Tony
only
Pollard.
reason Brian Robinson and Singletary are on my list is because
this
they're
is
two of the
Gov's
highest
pick.
owned guys.
Yeah,
Like,
if you wanna
I'm
play
not
A-Chain-
big on Singletary this week. And as much as I would like to trust Brian Robinson, I don't trust the Washington team to do anything good
Yeah.
or to not use Chris Rodriguez. So, like, the two cheap running backs are two of the guys that should be my guys to play, are the two guys I want to stay away from the most this week. So, like, I'm just looking and, like, I don't even really like Brees. He's just the cheapest guy on my list.
Who do you like then? We can even go down from defense.
He said A-Chain.
I said A-Chain if
A-Chain?
that's who you can go to. If you really want to
Yeah.
know, the highest guys on my list are CMC
Oh,
and
yeah.
Aaron.
Dude, I want your flavor in this lineup, so we're definitely going to go with it.
I don't have any flavor this week. That's
Well-
the thing. Like, I got nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I got no critique. Like, I don't care about
These
the
cheese
defense.
our chicken broth.
Chicken broth is too spicy for me. Like, this, no, it's not even that this week.
You're going bottom of the barrel kind of. You got water, not chicken broth at that point. Any other convictions? I know Gov's pretty much tapped out. Do you guys feel strong about anything? Do you want to do any other?
I'm
builds?
also losing my voice, so
Yeah. Well, that's why I was going to wrap up too, because I think Gov's done. You're battling sick, Donnie. I just wonder if there's any other takes you guys want to get out there. Last week I was really high on a lot of cheap wide receivers, Guyton, Rondell Moore, all of those guys hit. So is there anything else you guys want to tell the people? Not even guarantees, but just like philosophies.
I got
strategies?
some.
Go ahead, Donnie.
The Broncos country's finally starting to ride, baby.
So to Evan's point though, so you a believer in Cortland Sutton? Are you telling people that you would put him in a showdown lineup? You would captain him? Like, do you believe that's a thing?
I'm a believer that this Broncos team's about to turn it around and maybe even get us up high up 9 wins this season.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We got some showdown takes. We got some primetime mistakes by Evan. We got the guys battling sick for us, Donnie, and Gov's literally giving us every bit of energy he's got, but he's on zero. Evan still got his Bears. He's still got hope. I think my Lions should be able to do well, but every time we kind of put ourselves in a position where we think we're going to do well, then a game like the Ravens shows up. So I'm a bit nervous. But we'll see. I thought we built some interesting lineups. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Have a good night. Take care.
Keep the faith, guys. Go Bears.
Have a good night, everyone.
Peace out, everybody.